Hello and welcome to week 2 of Building Morak. Last week was all on the paper stuff, very boring, just explaining what's basically going on with the mock. Now we're getting to the fun stuff, we're building stuff. It's going to be very exciting, let me tell you. We're going to be working with technic a lot today, creating a very intricate technic function, so hopefully that's not a complete disaster. The title will probably tell you if it is or not. It probably will be. But yeah, we're just going to go straight into it. So here's that intro. Okay, so here is basically the plan of what I'm wanting to work on today. You can see I've got what is generally supposed to be my juggernaut here, and you can see we've got a line of different technique stuff below it. So we've got all 5 wheels here with the gears underneath it, and we'll have the skiffs behind, obviously, just lined up something like this, and then in front of it we'll have the bridge area just going out in front. So with this central area, what I want to do is, with each of these gears running along the bottoms, I want to have pistons attached to them with these little stems on top of them, which will basically push them up. So this will be connected to this wheel here, and it'll push it up in a way that it'll basically lead the entire thing to move almost in this motion. Like that one goes up, that one goes up, that one goes up. So it kind of creates a rolling motion to make the actual vehicle make it look like it's moving forward. And this will obviously be on a loop to make sure so it keeps looking like it's moving forward. In reality, it won't move anywhere, but I think it will create that really nice forward motion. As I said, it's not actually going to be moving anywhere, but you can basically tell it's going to move forward using this gear system. And this whole gear system is what we're going to be building today. So let's hopefully it doesn't go too wrong. Let's do it. Okay, so now that I've explained exactly what I want to do, let's actually try and build it. So you can see here, I've got this laid out so I know how far apart my wheels are. I'm going to just start with a smaller prototype, maybe working on 1 to 3 wheels before building it out as long as it needs to be to hit all 5 of the wheels. Let's get this going. Okay, so you can see between the last 2 clips, I got a lot of my technic stuff out to try and see what I could work with. I wonder if you can see which part I've been working on, because it all looks a bit like a mess, but this is basically the function I've started with. I've just begun with a very easy gearbox to turn 1 axle into 2 moving ones at once using this black piece in the middle here. So if I clear a little bit of space, I can do this one-handed. All I need to do is just hold this, and you see I move this one, and the other 2 move around. They do move around in opposite directions, which is quite annoying, so I need to try and figure out a function to get them both moving the same way, to create the same motion going down like that. So yeah, let's keep working. Okay, I just simplified this a lot more than it previously was. Before I had a 4x6 because something was going weird with these actual gears in the middle, but now I've got it nice and color-coded, super simple, and easy to maneuver. So again, spin the center sections, and these do just move a lot easier. You can see I can now do it one-handed because the last one had issues, but now I fixed that and I can move on nicely. Okay, so I've bulked this out quite a fair bit. You can see I've got the original construction here, and then I've got 2 long beams of technic bricks running down the side, which is about long enough to reach both ends of my vehicle, essentially. So what I need to do now is try and figure out an actual feature to get these wheels moving up and down. And what I think I'm going to go with is this little module, which is basically if I attach one straight into over here like that, I just pull one in and make sure it actually attaches just like that. When I spin this, you can see that moves down and up and down and up and down and up. And if I've got that consistently facing upwards, when it goes around just like that, it will hopefully push something up, and that being the front wheels. Now, my issue is how to get that consistent in a running motion along down all of these, because I'm going to have to get quite a lot of gears to get to all of these wheels. And I'm not sure if I've got enough in this little box. So we'll have a play around and see how far we get with this. So you can see I've cleared a little bit of space, not all of it, obviously, but here's what I've gotten on this module so far. You can see it is very big and very detailed. But so you can see basically each of these gears is supposed to line up just about, at least each of the gears with this Technic beam attached is meant to line up around next to each of the wheels. Like there you go, there you go, and there you go. So basically when I spin this, the idea is that it pulls around and pushes them up. But you can see when spinning this, not a whole lot happens. There you go, you're starting to get some movement, but like, obviously this is not good enough. I'm not happy with how this is turning out, so I'm going to have to make some changes, and that's going to start with me actually realizing that there's a much simpler way to run all of these at once. And instead of using all of these Technic gears, because it means things like these ones have to work ridiculously hard to move the ones at the back over here, what I instead need to use are these pieces. And I never really knew what they did. These type of, like, I think they're called worm drives. They basically spin along and can move one of these pieces, one of these gears, if it's attached to a long, just Technic axle. So I'm going to have one of those, a long one running down there, with just a couple of these on each of the main ones that actually need to turn. And hopefully that should lead to a much smoother motion. So let's give that a go. Okay, so my worm drive idea didn't work either, but you can see here I've once again rebuilt the entire thing. Well, I've kept most of it, I've just reworked the middle section now. I basically realized I needed to have less gears in this main structure. So I actually figured out if I used more of these actual main boxes, I could work power from the center, and instead of having to go through these two tiny gears each time, I can just stay on the main rod and start again from here and here. So this will power the last two, this will power the third one, and then this will stay powering the first two. I actually realized I can probably move this forward to start just going even faster. So I can make this a little bit shorter. But yeah, this is probably the method I'm actually going to go down the route with, because spinning it, there's no clicks, there's no stops, and it all works. So I want it to. I did forget about how the way this works means that this side moves a bit differently to this side. So I'm going to have to try and figure out some kind of tactic to make that not happen. But for what I've got just now, I'm pretty happy with how it's all going around. So now I just need to order some more gears off of Bricklink and then complete the other side. Okay, so with this episode, I've been trying to do like small incremental updates with just little bits here and there showing exactly how I went through the process of building this. I kind of went a little bit off the rails, as you might be able to tell. What you might remember from last time is this structure on the top. I basically bulked it down quite a lot to make this a lot taller than it currently is. Because when these things are at full height, like here, this is just about a plate away from where the wheels are actually going to touch. So this does need to have some room to move downwards. And also this whole section is going to be raised above, because obviously I need a bridge later, so therefore I need some depth and height. And that bridge needs to line up with the actual landmass, and the height of this will be where the landmass is. This won't be the complete height, I'll obviously make it quite a bit taller, but this is how tall this segment's going to be, because I want to make this segment removable. Therefore, if anything goes wrong, I'm able to fix it. Therefore, that's something I've learned from Camino, that if something is likely to go wrong, it should be easily accessible. And this, I have a feeling, is likely to go wrong, so I want to make this easily. It should be able to pull out just like this from the main mock. That's my current plan, at least. But yeah, besides that, you can see I've used these red pieces, which I got off the pad wall, to basically support it. I know some people might be saying that's a waste of such a useful and interesting looking piece, but I currently don't have any other use for it at the minute. And I still do have quite a few other ones, so I'm fine by this. And I've reinforced it with another Technic structure all the way down there, with Technic beams crossing all over the place to make this a strong, sturdy build. And it is nice and sturdy. Now, what you might also notice is that instead of going from 3 of these things, I've gone to 5. Therefore, I can save on all the gears, which I thought I needed to use. And therefore, I've just got 5 beams crossing all over it, but that does make it a lot more structurally sound as well, so that's another benefit. And I have actually figured out a way to get both wheels moving at the same pace by using 2 of the smaller gears here and just one of the bigger ones here. That one will push that to be going the same way that this one's going, and therefore these all go the same direction. Now, you might be wondering why on the end of these beams do I have some 1x4 bricks, 1x4 Technic bricks. That is basically established here. This is what the wheel's going to attach to. Obviously, it won't be tan. This is just like a test to show exactly what my plan is for that. So the wheel's going to be on here. I'm going to get a system so that this stays up. There's going to be some kind of tiling underneath or something like that. And then when I spin this wheel at the back, this should all move. Now, obviously, me spinning it right now, there's a lot of things catching, there's a lot of things moving, but overall it is still moving, which is what I ultimately need. Now, obviously, in reality, these are not going to be like this. They're not going to be stuck down like that. They're all going to be facing upwards like this. And when it's doing that, nothing should catch. So my next thing is to get all of these individual little beams with the Technic bricks on top standing upright. That's my next plan, and I will get to you after that. Okay, so you can see I spent a little bit of time in this section now. You can see I've plated up this whole area. And I've got these 4 basically beams to be standing up, and I'm working on the first one to basically figure out how I want to design it. And I just want to show you basically how this function works. So you can see here, this is upright facing and above, and therefore when I move the winch down, you can see that it reaches the bottom level here, and that's where it's flat against the tile and stationary. Now, this is what it's going to be. So, therefore, when I get the motor in this and it's moving, it's going to move from this bottom stationary position to me pulling it all the way up until it's in its top position, more like that. So you can see we get those about 2 beam rise. And I think that'll be just enough to make it look like the actual machine's got movement without it looking like it's having an earthquake or that the ground just pumping out anywhere. So I think it's just the right amount of movement. And the way to stop this from swaying is I'm going to have some more tiles here and here, and then the plate's going to go across the top. So it will just work within this little 4x6 gap. And yeah, I'm really happy with how this is turning out, so let's keep working. And here we go. Here's what's, for now at least, the finalized version of my beam thing, which all of this entire system, literally all this entire episode, this entire system, all of these updates I've done is for this motion. Are you ready? It's very exciting. It goes up. And oh my goodness, it goes back down again. I keep spinning it. And it goes back up. And I keep spinning it. Does it fall out? No, it doesn't. It goes directly back down again. You can see all of these other motors are moving as well on all these gears. And this is back down to where we started. So now I just need to replicate that 10 times across this entire thing. And then hopefully it should all work at once. Okay, I've run into an issue. It was only a matter of time before we hit another roadblock. Okay, so you can see here, I've got my 2 platforms built on either side. This is where the 2 wheels would lay. There is, however, a slight issue. I'm going to see if you can notice it. So I'm just going to start spinning this and see if you can notice the difference. You see it? Do you see how this one is moving a lot faster than this one? Therefore, if the wheels were on top of it, instead of it going like how I want to go, it like the front moves first, and then the next one, the next one, the next one, it'll be the right side's going crazy, and the left side's going a lot slower. yeah, I'm not very happy with that. And I think the reason why this has happened leads back to my original, like, plan of wanting to have these going the same direction. By having one big gear on the left side and these two little gears on the right side. I think what that's doing is making this much slower because this has to go through 2 gears, whereas that only had to go through 1. I'm learning a lot, actually, while building this about gears and technic and all this kind of new stuff. So it's really fun to learn about, although very, very difficult. Yeah, so I've got 2 options now. I can either switch them all to the small gears or all to the big gears. So I'm not entirely sure which one I'm going to do yet. The slight issue being I don't think I've got enough of either piece at the minute. So I may need to do a little bit of bricklink ordering to sort this out. But yeah, let's see how we can fix this issue. Okay, so after dismantling way too much of this model to get the right type of gears in, you can see I've gone for the small gears on both sides, because that will make the motion a little bit slower, which I think will make it look a little bit more realistic. But especially when the motor goes through, because the motor will be very quick, and if it was going on the quicker gears, then it would look like it's just going hyperactive. So now when I move this, you can see that both of these platforms move in the same direction at the same time, and they move down at the same time. You can see the next one's starting to do the same before I just try and rebuild it. Same with this one over here. And we've got the function I've been wanting. There we go. We've got what I want. Yes, I need to recreate it 4 more times for all the other wheels. But for now, this I'm pretty happy with. And I think you've seen the runtime of this video. I think that's where we're going to leave it off for today. I know this video has been a little bit messy, but this has just been my process of how I'm trying to get this function across. I know my table's been a mess the entire episode. That probably won't change throughout the series. It's just a lot of stuff that I've been able to get done. I'm really happy with how this is turning out, and I cannot wait to actually get the vehicle on it and actually build around this, build the entire mock. Don't forget, this is going to be about 2/3 of just the actual ground section, so this will still continue further back and a little bit further forward before the bridge and then the full base. So we've got a lot to build. I've got quite a lot done this episode in hindsight, just because I don't need to go back to this. Fingers crossed I don't have to go back to this, but we'll see. But thank you very much for watching this week's update. If you did enjoy it, like the video, that's what the like button's there for. Comment if you think this was a good idea, or if you think I've wasted my time. And subscribe so you do not miss next week's episode. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. And goodbye.